bring the energy, he'll do the rest. Martinez and Company, powered by Sports Radio 102.9 The Game.
You're going to hear it right here.
The show starts now.
Good morning, sports fans everywhere from around the world, around our great nation, and we thank you for tuning in here to Martinez and Company as I am live. It is 10:35, a delayed start to the show this morning, but because you have to straighten certain things out with certain platforms, it just drives you bananas. And you guys know, if anything, I never get political. I don't need to get political. That's why we put people in different positions to do what they want, because they can do all the political nonsense that they want to. But it drives me more bananas that the people that work at jobs, because computers can't run things all by themselves, they need input. But people at places, instead of reaching out to folks and just saying, hey, can we correct this because this might be something incorrect or something else, or hey, we think this is political. There is nothing political, anything involved with Coastal Sports Network. Just isn't. It's about having fun with everyone and joking and laughing and blah, blah, blah. But it drives me more bananas when you cannot, it's the dumbest thing when you can't say anything anymore and you have to go into this long-winded explanation of why and how and what and all that good happy horse stuff that comes along with it. It just doesn't make any sense. And if you change a website, which is just blowing my mind completely, if you used to go to broadsdsouth.com, and if you still have it in your phone or wherever else, you click on it, there's a hyperlink that now takes you where it was renamed to sr1029thegame.com. Now, anybody with any kind of intelligence would figure out, wow, that's it? That's all I had to do? Gee, I don't have to ban this person or take them to, to their virtual police or whatever else that it is, because all you had to do was just click. That's it. And ask the person. But no, we're easier to believe what other people want to report about somebody, or we're easier because they find it our community is butthurt for what you have stated, which is a website. Seriously, folks. Listen, keep your free speech alive, because that's what our beautiful voices are here for, is to be opinionated, to say what we want to say. And that's it. But when you start getting curbed more and more and more, holy cripeys, it's ridiculous. I can't even believe what Pete and I even had to go through this morning. It made no sense. And then they scrub your account. And it's like there's people that are literally telling you how to do certain things, which I will never repeat. But you will never take their stuff down. But those of us who are enjoying life and having fun, you want to take our stuff down because we have a voice. Well, it makes no sense to me. Honest to God, it doesn't. But if you missed Pete's show, Pete had a great lineup this morning. We just had Gabe Morency on not too long ago with Pete Shepard and Pete Shepard Show from 7 to 10 a.m. And Gabe pretty much, he said what everybody, well, some of us, not every Eagles fan is going to agree with, what's been said. And Gas Pump Guy is going to be calling in here momentarily and give us his Bucks report. We'll also have Mike Fuji on at 11 a.m. to give us the Eagles report. But I'm a diehard Eagles fan. I have my Philly to South shirt, the club that represents down here at Tampa Joe's at beautiful 9316 Anderson Road in Tampa. And if you guys want a great meal, great food, fresh beer, fresh drinks, and you come from other places, even if it's the first time you're hearing us here on the Coastal Sports Network and Sports Radio 102.9 FM The Game, go there. We have a great time, and it's welcome to everyone. Yes, just, obviously it'll turn into an Eagles bar, but we've had Bucks fans, Patriots fans, Jets fans. We've had every fan there. So just because you see a bunch of Eagles jerseys, we're not a bunch of jerks. We all like to have fun. So and everybody knows the only time you'll hear us say anything is when we say, when you'll hear us say that Dallas sucks. But that's been something that Dallas says the same thing about the Eagles. Everybody has said all kinds of stuff here. And I believe if this comes in the way it should, give me a second, we should have on with us right now on the line is Gas Pump Guy. Gas Pump Guy I was just talking about as far as the people coming to Tampa Joe's and having fun, because it turns into an Eagles bar on Sundays or Saturdays or Fridays, depending on what day of the week we're playing football here. but everybody's welcome. We all like to enjoy it and have fun with ourselves. We've had Bucks fans that have shown up. They like to have fun with us because obviously the last 2 outings with the Bucks hasn't been the best. But Gaspar Guy, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, other than the nonsense that I had to deal with this morning and then answer something to a reply that was sent to me. So I did a delayed start to the show, but it's because the human element, Gaspar Guy, I don't understand what happened with people and communicate. It's like dating, right? If wife, kids, in order for us to meet other people, what did you do before? You actually walked up to somebody and said, hey, you don't know who I am, or whatever line that you use, but let's become friends. And then one thing led to another, hopefully a relationship, and then marriage and businesses and jobs and stuff. But my God, has things gone south?
Yeah, this new generation is, how do you put it in a light term, pussies?
Yeah, pretty much.
They don't take criticism very well, and they think that they're entitled to everything, when in reality they haven't done shit to get anything.
Nope, they haven't. And I think that's more important for people to understand. And again, listen, you guys will hear me say this on my show, on my network all the time. If you're easily butthurt or offended, this is not the network for you. I'm just putting it out there. You'll never hear us bringing somebody down or doing all kinds of stuff, even though we just voiced our opinions there. But you're right there, Gaspar Guy, because my thing is, no one's entitled to anything. And we hear all the time, like, oh, this person's entitled because this, that, and the other. No, we all work, at least those of us that I know in my circle, have always worked for whatever it is that we want, that we've always wanted to be in life, to do things in life and whatever. But now it's much easier to hide behind a phone or hide behind the internet and then report somebody for something that's either bogus, false, or just outright ridiculous. And everybody's community guidelines are not met because you're not all holding hands and standing by the campfire and roasting marshmallows. I just don't get it anymore, honestly.
Well, I mean, it's like, before we get to the Bucks report, it's like, when we were growing up, Angel, I don't know, you're of Latin descent. I'm of Latin descent. My dad used to work in the field. So I started working when I was like 10 years old. So I knew what you had to do, how hard you had to work to get money to buy school clothes, because my dad didn't like the clothes that I wore to school. So he told me, if you want to wear this, then you're going to have to pay for it. So I realized then that, hey, if I want to do what I want to do, then I'm going to have to work and make money to do it, and not expect my parents to just, here, go buy whatever you want to buy. It's just, kids are raised so different nowadays. And I'm thankful that I have a son, and I'm trying to teach him the way that I was taught. But even then, some of the things that we grew up, we'd get in trouble and probably put in jail. My parents would probably be in jail by now if I raised my son the way that my mom and dad raised me. It's just so ridiculous, and they're just so soft, and it just aggravates me to death. I mean, it's getting out of hand.
It is. It's beyond out of hand, because before, listen, when we grew up in our own communities, for that matter, we had things that our mom and dad, they would do, and they did it for a reason. They honestly, it's because they loved you so much. They wanted, if they couldn't get through you one way, they got through to you another way. Now, as kids, do we sometimes push the bar? Of course we did. We're kids. They were kids too. That's what happened to them when they were growing up. And they just wanted to tell you, all right, don't do this, whatever. I got hit by a belt before. I got hit by a wooden spoon before. But goodness gracious, it wasn't like my mom was going to town. Basically, yeah. Even when she would say, like, my dad worked all kinds of crazy hours and had multiple jobs to make sure he kept food on the table and stuff. But when my mom, and I mean, it would have, like, that would have to be her last defense. It would have to be one of those things like, oh, that's what you said? And even then, she was still like, she would talk to you. And in our own community, like, it's not just one thing. You'll get the explanation, and then there's paragraphs and paragraphs and paragraphs that follow. So, and it's as kids, we all knew it, like, she's not done yet, is she? And another thing, but it was fun. That's what we did as kids. And then if you got hit, it wasn't like, again, my dad would come home, and if I knew my mom said, wait till your dad got home, at most of the time, I want to say at least 99% of the time, it was just a stern talk. Son, come here. Let me talk to you about something. And then you would sit down and you would hear him, and you couldn't even put your eyes like locked in with them because you knew, like, uh-oh, this isn't a good talk. But then if you got hit at something, it was like, okay, did I deserve it? Probably, because I was probably being more of a wise ass than anything else. But today you can't. God forbid if your parent tells you to go and I literally mean just go to your room. Now they can report you to the authorities, and the authorities come to your house and arrest you. You didn't even put your hand on a child. All they need is a report saying that, you said this to your child. But in the meantime, said child can attack a bus driver, and then listen, we got it on camera. No, you didn't.
You didn't. Yep.
We don't see it. What are you guys talking about? You're smoking some crazy crack. You don't see my child assaulting the bus driver. So it's just today's society. And by the way, the platform that I'm talking about is I have my screen up to the right that you can't see because you're on the line with me. When I mean there's still scrubbing stuff off the account. And this is about when I work with the TBL, I'm the broadcasting partner for them. They've taken down interviews that I've done with BJ Daniels, that was formerly with USF and now with the Carolina Panthers. He's a QB coach out there with the Carolina Panthers, and we still talk to this day. I just got another one that just popped up. They took something away from the Kokomo Bobcats, and again, they're part of TBL. So now they're going through and just pretty much scrubbing every little thing they possibly can, which is ungodly ridiculous. And there is nothing in any of these videos that he took down. There's nothing in there even remotely mentioning anything about the FBI or CIA or White House or anything. None of that stuff. It's about sports. But this is the society that we've come to when now they just regulate everything that you can or can't say anymore. And the unfortunate part is that people don't want to voice their opinions anymore because everyone is too afraid to say something because, oh my God, I got a game to call tomorrow. Who knows if the teams that I'm actually going to go call the game for tomorrow would actually be watching this live. But anybody who knows me, first of all, I served our country and I love our country. But I also be damned too if you tell me that I can't say whatever I want to say anymore, which is just ungodly ridiculous. It is uncalled for and it makes no sense. But here I'm watching this friggin' platform that I can't stand, but yet they will allow anyone with political stuff to be able to go on and say whatever they want, and they won't scrub their account. But those of us who have fun, enjoy life, and talk about sports, they will take everything down. This is a new world, folks, that you guys better be woken up to and seeing what's going on. And the only thing I will say political right now would be November 5th, make sure you make the right choice because it is ungodly ridiculous what is happening today.
Yes, it is. And the key word you said is if you're happy, nobody wants you to be happy. They want you to feel as miserable as they do. So they try their best to block you out or take you off of a platform. And like you said, you fought for this country. You gave us all our rights. You helped fight for our rights. And it's just ridiculous what they're doing to you, sir.
It's so friggin' dumb. But before we get into the Bucks report here, and I know I have Duncan Dad in the green room, and I'm pretty sure he'll have something to talk about this as well, as we'll get into some Eagles talk and some other stuff. But again, folks, listen, do not let people, by all means, please do not let people try to shut your voice out. As far as I checked, this is why we have a constitution. This is why we have a Bill of Rights. We have so many things at our disposal, and yet we're allowing people to take away our own voices. What's it going to be? Are we going to pop up? My wife and I love to go to the beach all the time. So you mean, are they going to start handing out cards? Excuse me, sir. What are you planning on talking about on the beach? I don't know, whatever I want to. No, take this card here. And we're going to have the, talking police out there to make sure whatever you're saying is not said again. So I am so fed up with people trying to curb and tell you how they feel. Listen, you can live I'll say it all the time. When you wake up in the morning, it is your choice on the kind of morning you want to have. Good choice, bad choice. If you know that you're going to go somewhere and there's a good possibility that something's going to happen, that was your choice. But if you wake up and say, yeah, you know what? I really thought about it overnight. I don't think I really want to go there. And then if something happened, God forbid there, you made the right choice by saying, you know what? I knew it. Something was about to happen and it didn't happen. Now, God bless the parents of the families that were lost in Georgia. God bless you. Our condolences, our heartfelt thoughts are out with you. But again, there were things that were dropped that could have been avoided. And this is why I mean, and why I bring up the talk is because when we hear all the time, if you see something, say something. Okay, we said it, and then it gets ignored. So don't take away people's voices because we're not agreeing 100% with whatever your ideology is. Do it because we want to take people away from whatever they're going on with in their life and coming here and having fun. And here's talk the most nonsense crap in the world, which is sports. That's why we love it, because we're opinionated and it gets us away from the reality world because it's fun. It's what we do. I can talk as much smack as I want about the Eagles. Do the Eagles care? Not really. Because why? It's my opinion. Now,
and they don't know who we are anyway. So
right. So it doesn't make any sense. No different than the Bucks, or the Titans or anybody else. It is our way to just have fun, enjoy it all, share it with other people. The phone lines are open, by the way, 727-858-6650. You guys want to come on? You want to voice your opinion? By all means, do so, because, again, this was what life was made of. How in the world did we? I don't care if you love the same sex, if you love the opposite sex. Again, your choice, your body, your choice. But my thing is, how do we create friends? Oh, because we opened our mouths, unlike today's generation when they just open their phones and scroll through people's profiles. We physically walked up to somebody. It's no different. If Gas Pump Guy was at our location when we're doing a live show and he comes up to me or I go up to him and, hey, how you liking things? Good. That's how you start a conversation. Now, nope. Let me grab my phone, swipe left, swipe right. I don't like their profile. Oh, look, she's interesting. The human element is going away, and it's sinful to say.
Yep, that's so true. And just to touch another thing on the stuff that happened in Georgia, that's just another fuel for people's fire. They want to talk about taking guns and assault rifles and all that stuff away. I get it. Maybe there should be some limitations on some things, but we were given the right to bear arms to protect ourselves.
Yep.
So, and the thing is too, is that a lot of these shootings, a lot of the people have mental health issues, but they don't want to touch on that subject. They just want to solely be on the guns, and it's the gun's fault. It's the gun's fault. No, this guy or this person was going through something, and there had to have been signs, but you just want to choose to ignore it so you can play to your agenda. That's the only political thing I'm going to say.
Nope, I agree. That's it. So that particular platform, honestly, you heard what I said this morning on Pete Shepard show, and I stand by it, because my thing is, it's ungodly ridiculous what they're doing. And then people, it's funny because you have Elon on X, which Elon will let anybody, as long as obviously you don't make a threat, that's a whole different story. Yes. Then if you make a threat, they need to follow up on it to make sure that the person is not physically trying to bring harm to somebody. But thank God for Elon and buying out from Jack on X here, because at least we still have a platform where we can actually be ourselves, say what we want, share funny opinions, and share other people's videos, because that's what we love to do. We'll share it, whatever we find funny, we'll throw it out there like, oh, did you miss this? Or even like the new Applebee's commercials that everybody's, sharing out there because of, the Detroit Lions. Obviously, you got Brock Purdy, who's been on there for Applebee's. Like, there's been some fun stuff out there. The political stuff, I don't care to share for, because again, I have my own opinions. I can say whatever I want to, but I'm not fueling that fire. But stop with the whole thing of trying to censor people. And even the people in Brazil, they have to send their videos to their friends back in the U.S. so their friends can post what they're doing over there in Brazil. It's so sinful. And they're not even doing anything political. You're going there for an NFL game. It's so ungodly ridiculous. But anyways, the Bucks.
We digress.
Exactly. Bucks got a big game coming up here. Baker Mayfield, we're all looking for important things to happen from him out on the gridiron. A lot of fans here are finally starting to kind of shake off the dust from last year and waiting to see what's going to happen on the gridiron. But I'm not a super fan of Todd Bowles, just like I'm not a super fan of Nick Sirianni either. So let's get that one out there. But we hope that Todd Bowles has a much more successful season this year. And honestly, Gas Pump Guy, it is, as we spoke about yesterday, this is the division for the Bucks to lose.
Oh yeah, clearly. I mean, we have almost all the players that we had last year, and the rookies that we signed, all the rookies that we drafted. So that's a plus. I mean, we have a good second running back behind Rachaad White and Bucky Irvin. That guy is phenomenal. He can catch out of the backfield. He can run the ball. He can shoot the gaps. He's patient. He waits for his opening. So I'm more excited about the run game this year, because last year it wasn't as successful as Dave Canales. Not Dave Canales. Yeah, Dave Canales.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not as successful as he wanted it to be. He did want to run the ball more, but I think Liam Coen just brings a different type of energy, and I'm really excited to see how the run game is going to turn out, because the last game against the Dolphins, the starters came out for the first drive, and we marched down the field and scored a touchdown. And the majority of those plays, I think it was half and half, but they did some really good run plays and some really good catching out of the backfield. So that's one thing I'm really interested in to see.
I think yesterday it was mentioned a whole bunch about guys doing running plays. And if you happen to catch the Ravens game last night, the Ravens could not open up a hole to save their lives last evening. A couple of small breaks. Obviously, Derrick Henry, the King, decided to break one open, and the first score for the Ravens. But then after that, they struggled to run the ball. And then if anybody's watching a pregame show, they talked about, well, the raining conditions, the ball's going to be wet, so we want to see the run game. Worked out well for Kansas City, but they didn't work out so well for the Ravens. This last year, I think this year, what I would like to see from the Bucs is a more run balance offense where, I understand the NFL is now about passing it. I get it. And there's probably nobody better right now than Patrick Mahomes that we've seen just from yesterday's game. I'm not talking about for the rest of the season, just from yesterday's game. But right now, the NFL is more focused upon passing the ball instead of running it like the way it used to be. You used to run it down teams' throats so bad that they couldn't stop you. Even if you ran through a wet paper bag, there was nothing that they can do to you. So I want to see the Bucs this year attempt to run the ball some more. Do you believe that we will see that here, game 1, week 1 from the Bucs?
Oh, I think so. And I think a big part of that run game is going to be Graham Barton, the center. That guy is awesome. He's just so football knowledge. I heard Coach say that when he got there, he was just head down, ready to go. Let's get into this. And he's good at pushing people around. I mean, he's going to have a hard time because he's going to go up against Jonathan Allen. And that, he's obviously a good dude, and made the Pro Bowl in 2001 and 2002 and he had 9.5 and 7.5 sacks those seasons. So, I mean, he's definitely going to be a big test for Barton, but I think he's up to the test. And I think we're going to see something really good from that guy.
I think so as well. And I'm dying to see again what this wide receiver core is going to end up doing as well, even though we talked about the running back, but I want to see what Baker Mayfield does in year 2 here with the Bucs. And in my opinion, unless, if Cam Ward goes number 1, or, I hope obviously the Bucs are not the worst team in the NFL, but if they already have someone in their sights, good for them. But I would like to see Baker Mayfield at least get another extension. I could see him here, honestly, for another 2 seasons. But again, we won't know this until it happens at the end of the season here. But Baker Mayfield has made a lot of good strides last season. I know during training camp, a lot of the guys still love him. He absolutely embraces the Tampa Bay community. First game coming out the gate here, numbers-wise, what do you believe Baker Mayfield would have in the air?
Well, judging on just judging on Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and the rookie McMillan, I think is his name. I think Baker could get at least, 200 yards or so. I think he's going to be able to air it out a little. Again, he's going to have to get that run game going first. I think that's what they're going to work on. But if we can get the run game going and he's not dire on throwing the ball all the time, I think he'll still be able to get at least 200 yards in the air.
No, that'd be good for Baker. I don't see. I mean, we hope that obviously he doesn't have throw the first interception, first pick of the season here. But I want to see this team again. I know Bucs are one of those teams that are not spoken about here, especially here locally. I honestly, God, I don't get it with the local media group here. And you have the one channel here that's supposed to be the home of the Bucs, and then I think the Bucs, honest to God, may get about a minute and a half worth of coverage. I don't get it. And Philly, the one thing is, every team, even if it's Penn State, Pittsburgh, not so much, obviously, because it's out there, unless we're playing the, either the Steelers or we're playing the Penguins. But as far as the Pittsburgh Panthers out there for Pittsburgh U, in Philly, even they talk about the Philly teams. I mean, at least 5 to 6 minutes, depending on who you watch, on which channel. But I don't understand it here. How in the world the Bucs don't get a ton of coverage? I still scratch my head to this day, and I've been down here now for 5 years. And you get ramped up for football season, and it's like, do you guys not love your team, or there's not enough exposure? I mean, once training camp starts, you should have material until basically the season ends in January, or if you're fortunate enough to get to the Super Bowl. But I don't know. I don't get it. I keep saying it about the Bucs. I don't understand it whatsoever, but I do want to see, hopefully, maybe, and obviously it'll be talked about more here on the Coastal Sports Network. But I'm excited to see what the Bucs have in store. Not so much, obviously, when the Eagles come into town. I hope the Eagles end up beating them, but we'll see if they can obviously beat
Come on, Angel. Come on. How did it go the last 2 times?
Hey, listen, I brought it up before you came on. I said the same thing. It hasn't gone so well for us. Trust me. And a couple of fans, we're probably, honest to God, at Tampa Joe's, we're probably going to have more Bucs fans show up this time around, unlike the last 2, just to kind of tease us and rub in our faces. Hey, what's up, Eagles fans? Remember us? So, it is what it is. But I want to see, obviously the entire season starting off tonight is Green Bay Eagles. For this evening, and I want to see what's going to happen out there on the field. Keep getting reports that they're saying that the conditions aren't great, blah, blah, blah. But listen, it's only one game. The Eagles are the home team because you can see the Eagles paraphernalia all around the stadium, and it's going to be a good time. But nonetheless, I just want to see what's going to happen this NFL season. I want to see what's going to happen with the Bucs. Maybe, hopefully, on Monday we'll be talking about the winning element of the Bucs versus the losing element. But we'll find out. And where will you be watching the game, Senor?
I usually just watch the game at my house because it's on local TV, and unless I have like some friends or something to go out to have a few drinks, but drinks are just so expensive nowadays. It's better to just buy a 12-pack or an 18-pack and have your friends come over and have some wings. And every Sunday, me and my wife and my son, we have a tradition. Sometime during the game, we eat some wings and I drink some beer, and it's been working out pretty well for me, so I'm going to have to keep that going. And, I'll just probably be at the house relaxing, cussing at the TV if I have to.
That's right.
I tend to get a little loud, and my wife says that I tend to attract attention, and sometimes what I say is not particularly acceptable, I guess you could say.
We've all done it. Trust me. Especially when we're all together at Tampa Joe's, we all do it. We scream until freaking your head just pops off your shoulders. It's just the way it is. But anyways, nonetheless, thank you, Gaspon Guy, for calling in. I got, of course, another call coming in, which is probably Fuji talking about the Eagles. And I also got to bring up the Dunkin' Dad as well. So have yourself a great weekend. I'm pretty sure we're going to be chatting throughout the weekend anyways. But have yourself a great weekend. And then we'll get, I guess, the rap report on Monday. Oh. Did you go away?
Oh, I'm here.
No, it's Fuji. Oh, hold on. Gaspon. You know what? Give me a second. I'm going to do this just because I can. It's my show and I can do whatever I want
Break
to.
your TV.
Here we go. See? Now, all right. Welcome, first of all. It's Gaspon Guy doing the Bucs report. And then we have Fuji, my guy, back in Philly. Oh, and then we'll throw somebody else in the mix here. This could be a fun show. Listen, say whatever everybody wants to say. This is going to be an outstanding show.
Angel.
Exactly. Dunkin' Dad on the screen as well. So listen, we got a little bit of everybody. Fuji, what's going on first and foremost?
It is game day. Angel Martinez, Eagles Nation. I'm ready. Sam Paolo's going to be rocking with Eagles fans. Let's get it on. 2024 season kicking off. How's everybody doing?
We're doing fantastic, Fuji, and even Dunkin' Dad, who's representing so well with all kinds of Eagles decked out stuff. His Eagles coffee cup, for those who can't see or listening to us on the radio, looks like the towel, the blanket. I mean, you're just Dunkin' Dad. You're loaded up, man.
It's game day in Philly. You have to do it.
Yes, it is.
You do. That's the most important part. So we got Gas Pump Guy. If you guys have heard, I know hopefully Gas Pump Guy. If you have to run, because I know you have a business to run as well, and you want to jump off at any given point in time, you can. And believe me, I will understand it. But of course, you're more than happy to hang around as well.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good for right now. I got everybody doing what they need to do. I'm good for now. I'll let you know though if I need to.
All right. So Fuji. As we get into some Eagles talk here with Duncan Dad and everyone else, and by the way, if you guys are looking for a commercial break, I'm just blowing through it right now. I got bills to pay. Don't get me wrong. I'm just blowing through. It's that kind of a show we're going to have today. If you are not fired up for Football Friday, especially if you're an Eagles fan, I don't know what else to tell you. You know, tune in to, the Romper Room channel. Go play with your Legos. I don't know what else to tell you. It is Friday, and it's time to get down. It's time to have a lot of fun. But Fuji, we all been waiting for, obviously, 200 plus days to see the Eagles back on the field again. Being down there in Sao Paulo, I mean, we're hoping to see a better product that we saw last year. We had Gabe Morency on with us on the Pete Shepard Show a little bit earlier this morning. I mentioned to him that I am not 100% convinced. I have zero confidence in Nick Sirianni, if I'm being completely honest. Duncan Dad heard me say this the last time he was on with us. But I have zero confidence in Nick Sirianni. What do you expect out of this team tonight? Are we going to see a new resurrected team with Kellen Moore? Or are we going to start seeing more of the phoniness that I believe is between Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni?
Well, as we talked about it yesterday, I mean, I think tonight's going to be a nice heavyweight fight. I mean, Jordan Love versus Jalen Hurts. I mean, two offenses that are potent. I mean, really defensive-wise, you don't really know what you're going to get. I mean, a lot of people don't think, Cam Jordan stepping in the big shoes to fill for Jason Kelsey, Fletcher Cox on the other side, Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis. I mean, I think Jalen's playing with a chip on his shoulder from what the Philly media talks about. And I think, he wants to come out, prove the naysayers wrong. I mean, you talk about a guy that had Kansas City on the road 2 years ago in Arizona, just ready to put the final blow on Kansas City. Potential the last 2 years an MVP candidate. I think Jalen's, new offense, it's the last 3-4 years it's been a new offense for Jalen Hurts. And I think Kellen Moore is going to bring, some new fresh ideas here. You got Saquon Barkley. I mean, Howie went out and did his part. Now the Eagles got to go out and execute. Like I said, getting back to Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter, these guys got to step up for Fletcher Cox. So I think they come out swinging tonight, but I think it's going to be a nice heavyweight fight.
I hope so too, Fuji. I really, really hope that you're 100% right. I want to believe that the Eagles are going to win. In my heart, I still feel like Green Bay is going to win this game. I don't need Jalen and Nick Sirianni to maybe see eye to eye on everything, but I just want to put the doubt that I have is that these two are actually physically getting along. And then you build, again, new coordinators, new lines. It's just, to me, there's something that's missing. I don't have the same vibe and the same feels that I did last year before the season started. And usually we talk about, and Duncan Dad, I'll ask you this as well, because normally we get into when it comes down to it, when it has the, like our Super Bowl hangovers, right? This is not the Super Bowl hangover. This is what we saw, the complete, utter fallout of last season. And I know everybody's wanting to see what the product on the field is going to end up being today, a couple of hours from now. I mean, you're talking about some 7 hours or so and change before we see anything. But Duncan Dad, I want you to convince me of, am I reading too much into it, or is it that Jalen and Nick are just not seeing eye to eye?
No, I'm reading from the same book that you are, so I don't know if I'm the best expert to go to in this matter, but I really feel as if you're going to see one of two things. I'm not hedging my bet here. You're either going to see a very simplified offense from Kellen Moore, right, not to sort of shake up Jalen Hurts right out of the gate, or you're running like a Jerry Glanville offense where you've got the outstanding wide receivers, you have a dynamic running back. You're not really sure how all this protection call stuff is going to work out. I know Kelsey pumped up Hurts all over radio, all over social media about, oh, he's grown, he needs to look into this stuff, he's reading defenses. But until you're faced to do it, live time, you got to kind of, what do they say in the Army, right? Kiss it, right? Keep it simple, stupid.
Right.
And I think that's where he needs to come off as. And there is a rift there. Now, have quarterbacks and coaches not agreed in the past? Sure. Sometimes it works out, sometimes, it doesn't. But in order to really get the most out of all these guys, like you, I don't think you can just erase the fact that the last 10 games of last season, were just atrocious. Like you don't instantaneously make that connection and that vibe with your players, with your coaches, with your coordinators coming off of that. They can dance around all they want on social media, where they're banging the drums down there in Brazil. Everybody's getting together. It's all fun. You got to line up, all right? You got to line up. And there's been track record over and over. Yeah, Fuge, he's been MVP candidate. He's put up gaudy numbers, but he's done this without hitting his second receiver. He's done this without going to his third read. He's done this without, stepping up into the pocket and maybe just doing, some little dump or whatever. Like that's the growth I'm looking for out of Hurts. I know you can play ball, but now I need to play quarterback, right? Because all the X's and O's and all that stuff that we run through in the whole season, offense is going to be off the charts this year. When it comes down to the nitty gritty, it's about ball control. It's about a defensive scheme and not turning it over. He's got to show me that. He really has to show me that.
Yeah. I want to see, because I'm telling you, I am not, I've been a Birds fan since birth. Some people talk about, matter of fact, even probably while I was a dad's thought as it was swimming through the channel there, I'm pretty sure at that point I was even thinking about as far as being an Eagles fan. But, it's just, we have anybody who knows Philly fans, and I know people will hear all kinds of different stories like, oh my God, you guys suck. You threw batteries, blah, blah, blah. That is so old and ridiculous. Just get over on that fact. But people don't talk about other fans at other stadiums that literally have fights, and then it's recorded, and then they post it on social media. And what do you get? The caption? Nothing to see here, folks. So when it comes down to Philly, it's just we're diehard. We know exactly what we're talking about. We like to have fun. And we're also very harsh on all our major sports, and including soccer, because the Union don't get a pass either just because they've been around less than everyone else, because they know we're just as harsh on them as the Flyers, the Sixers, and the Phillies. No different. We're hoping the Phillies end up winning the division. It's up to them as well to lose. But I just want to see a different product that we saw last year. And again, I'm going to go back to when it comes to during training camp, why are we not, for the love of God, putting our starters together for at least 2 to 3 reps? No, we want to sprinkle this person or throw this one over here. Oh, no, it's cute that we just see if the third line is good as the second line, who will never make the practice squad. There's things that are just driving me about this organization absolutely nuts, and I can't wait for the game tonight because I want to see it. Now, I will tell you this much. If Green Bay and Jordan Love roll over the Eagles, I would hate to be in Philly on Monday, because those phone lines on whatever station you guys love to call will be absolutely on fire. Not to even include Mike Fuji, who I've seen and heard on fire. So, Fuji, I want to go back. I want to take that for a second. What would it be like, because you're still in our beautiful city of Philadelphia, what's it going to be like Monday morning if Green Bay runs all over the Birds?
It's going to be mayhem. I mean, they're probably going to want to go storm the NovaCare and want to burn it down. Not to sound so drastic, but hey, it's like, you go 0-1, God forbid, it's like, the sky's falling. Like everybody's in a panic, everybody just, it's just crazy. You love your team 1 second, you want to, just turn on them the next minute. That's just how this mentality in the city is. Like, we know our sports, we get ridiculed by ESPN, the national media, but we know our sports. We're the best sports town in America. The heck with New York, Boston. In New York up there, they got all their 2 teams in each sport, but, we know our stuff. But, it's just a panic, and, we expect perfection from our players. That's just how it always is. Always was and always will be. But getting just to circle back, to what you and Duncan Dad said, I believe there is a rip between Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni. And, it started with the whole thing back in OTAs when Jalen Hurts said the offense was 95% new. And, it's like the media in this town ridiculed him. Like, if they're, to me, like I told you, Angel, we talked yesterday. I don't think Nick Sirianni is the coach for Jalen Hurts.
Yep.
I don't think he's the coach to get him to the next level. I mean, if it was Andy Reid, no problem. Like, Andy Reid could pretty much turn any quarterback into Patrick Mahomes and Donovan McNabb, maybe with the exception of Kevin Cobb. But, Andy's who he is. I mean, he was here 14, 15 years. And, the Eagles, like I said yesterday, they should have won at least 2 to 3 Super Bowls.
Mm-hmm.
5 NFC titles and a Super Bowl appearance. But it's just a shame, the Eagles ended up coming up short and just, but I just think there's a rift. And I told you yesterday, I think if this team stumbles out of the gate, Sirianni gets the hook and he's on the hot seat. And I think Kellen Moore takes over because Vic Fangio don't want to be no head coach. He already was in Denver a couple of years ago.
Correct.
And, and I just, I'll say this, if you really look at it, Nick Sirianni probably would have been fired. I mean, it's the same situation with Doug Peterson. Peterson didn't want to fire his coordinators. He didn't believe it. He stuck up for his guys. And, to me, Sirianni's a puppet. How he's running the whole show. I mean, I don't care what anybody said. When you got the analytics, department telling this team who to, what to do and who to play. I mean, it's pretty scary when, not to take nothing away from Jeff Lurie or Howie, but I think, their fingerprints are all over this blueprint. And Sirianni's just sitting back, CEO. Kellen Moore, you do your thing. Vic Fangio, you do the other. So whether people don't like it or not, too bad. But this is the Philly way. This is coming from the Fuge way.
No, but you're
and that's
right.
my philosophy.
No, but you're
I
right.
approve this message. Sorry, you got me fired up now.
Go ahead, Gazprom guy.
I got a question. So since all you guys are Philly fans, how do you think Saquon Barkley's going to do? Because obviously he wasn't doing good in the last time when he was with the Giants. Do you think he's going to be a major part, or do you think he's just going to take a back seat and take some reps? Or
my answer is the problem of the last couple of years, or probably forever, Eagles never ran the ball. You went out and got Saquon Barkley,
right?
Paying this man $12 million. And the thing of it is, it's to take the heat off Jalen Hurts. But Jalen's a dual threat. Jalen's going to run if he can't find nobody open. Just hopefully they'll utilize this running game right. That's my take of it.
No,
maybe I'm wrong. I don't know if anybody agrees, disagrees.
No, I'll give my opinion, but I'm going to let Duncan Dad go ahead.
Well, when Saquon Barkley came into the league, I had flashbacks to watching Barry Sanders as a kid. He was just super dynamic, shifty, big guy, could handle the ball. The injuries, right? They start piling up. That affects him, and I'm not going to question his durability, and I hope he's all 100% healed up. But to Fuji's point, I can't remember when we had a designated running back or when the Eagles actually ran something of a running back offense, maybe back to like Westbrook with Reed, where he was he got a couple touches, but then he'd use them in those little screen passes, and they were designed run plays out of the backfield. But recently, there's just guys shuffling it. There's Scott, there's Gainwell, there's Clement, now there's Saquon. There's Sweat. Okay, guys, I get it. But if you're there just as a distraction, to Fuji's point, you're spending a lot of money on this guy. You're expecting a lot out of him. So I hope he's featured in this offense, and I hope that the other side is adjusting to this new tool, because it is going to be different running behind an offensive line that doesn't really have an anchor in the middle. Lane Johnson's fantastic. Everybody else on that line, maybe outside of Jordan, you're like, okay, let's see how we're going to do this. You got to think about Goddard pulling and blocking. He's coming off an injury as well. There's a little bit of trepidation when you go in these guys and you say, look, I got the last 10 games of the season last year, not to beat a dead horse. I've got these guys coming off of injuries. I just took out my core centerpiece. My guys on the edge, they're getting beat up all the time. What am I really going to do with this? So, turn the ball and hand to Saquon, hopefully 10, 15 times a game. But is that really going to happen? Probably not, because that's not what they've run in the way of offense. And to your point earlier, I remember we were sitting on the floor in Phoenix at the Super Bowl, and we started getting the words that Steichen was going, right? And before they even played the game. And I thought to myself, it was like, this was the same blueprint that sort of happened with Peterson. The only thing what Peterson did was like, hey, my guys are going to go. I'll take a little bit of time, but then I'm gone. But they've hung so much on Sirianni. And Nick, probably a great guy. You know, good coach, a lot of metaphors, a lot of, you know, Zen stuff or whatever. Really, really cool. But to Fuji's point, I don't think he's Jalen Hurts' coach, right? Like they're not there. Like they're just not there. You could probably put him in Kansas City, right? You could put him, you know, probably put him in Dallas. Like, you've got a different mindset when it comes to coaching the quarterback and new coordinators. Like, it's just, there's a lot of mismatch stuff. But as for Saquon, yeah, I mean, if he gets 10 to 12 touches a game, I think that'll be his max. And we'll get the same old story that we get from the other Philly guys, like, I don't want to overuse him. It's a long season. And Fuji is absolutely right. Come Monday, if this team loses, people are going to have Sirianni's, like, head on a stick, like the Frankenstein movie, marching down there to the link, marching down to NovaCare, and like, you got to get rid of this guy. The only problem is you haven't set yourself up for success on the backside. So now you pull one of these two coordinators. You got to be the head coach now. While you're implementing a new offense, good luck. You might as well wash your hands and walk away. I mean, I'm not putting doom and doom on the Eagles season, but there's a lot that has to fall into place. You can have all the talent in the world.
Right.
I don't pay bills.
No, it's the same way too. It's to reiterate a lot of stuff you end up saying as well, because my thing is, first of all, the flagship station of the Eagles back home is 94 WIP, and I could only imagine those friggin' phone lines going berserk come Monday morning if things go south. As far as Saquon Barkley, my thing is that I would think at minimum, and again, in my own opinion, I think at minimum, he would be looking at anywhere from 5 to 6 touches on today's game. I think the reason why the Eagles went out there, I'm hoping why our GM decided to bring Saquon there is because we want to start presenting more of the run game. Boston Scott, no longer around, and you have to make something work in the backfield. You have to. The air game is one thing, but the running game that we used to dominate when Dougie P was here, when he had 3-headed monsters, that's when you get back to if you want to, as far as comparisons when it comes to head coach, either you bring Dougie P back here to Philly from Jacksonville. This is a completely different team. Belichick, as much as I'm enjoying now him away from the Patriots and now his mindset, here in Philly with Jalen and Saquon, it's a whole different story. But Nick Sirianni, and something that you went back to, Duncan Dad, was that, listen, I don't want to hear we have to plant the most flowerless pedestal on the arc of the Joan Mountains and watch the seeds from the grass being sprinkled all over the hydrangeas. I don't want to hear that shit. What I want to hear is, I want to hear what he's going to end up doing to focusing upon this team. So if you brought Saquon here, and the reason why you brought him here is because you want to see this run game. You brought one of the better running backs, and with somebody with a major chip on his shoulder, and I'm going to bring up something that Saquon had mentioned yesterday in one of the press conferences, but you brought him here for a reason, and the reason is not only to win, is because we want to finally run the ball. You have a great running back in Saquon Barkley. Barring any injuries, and God willing he doesn't get one this season, he needs to have the balls in his hand more than just 2 or 3 times. I think anything less than 6 touches tonight, we're going back to reverting to whatever that Nick Sirianni had planned from last year. Last year, I understand we're all trying to wash that taste out of our mouths, but until this game happens, until the Eagles have hit the field in Sao Paulo, it's going to be completely different. But someone asked yesterday to Saquon Barkley, and since Gaston Guy's still here with us, and then obviously with Mike Fuji, but he talked about, and Fuji knows this more than anybody else, how we all feel when it comes to Dallas. But he was asked about how the NFC East rivalries are, and this is the first time with him not playing with the Giants, because now still part of the NFC East. But this is a question that was asked him by Sirius XM Radio.
Tell me about the rivalry that this team has with your former team from the Giants' perspective when you were there, whether you've gotten any sense of it from this perspective, because you know that fans, they're going to be looking at it.
Yeah, I think it definitely added to it, me coming over here for sure. I know, just speaking freely, when I was in New York, I couldn't stand Philly. I couldn't stand. I'm being completely honest. I've had this conversation with guys in the locker room. I couldn't stand you guys at one point. But it's funny now, a year later, how close I am with them and how, the city and the culture here of the team and the fans, I'm embracing it. One thing that I have learned, though, it's the Giants, it's a big one, but I guess we hate Dallas.
Yep.
Yeah. So
common ground.
Yeah, I'm learning a little more. I think, we were in practice the other day, and I guess someone had a Dallas jersey on, and all you hear is Dallas sucks, Dallas sucks. So, and I hate to say this, I have never beaten Dallas in New York. So, probably going to switch. I think people probably would think my hate and, would be a little more toward Giants, but I have never beat Dallas, so I'm looking forward to that game and finally getting hopefully 2 wins, and if it got to be 3, be 3.
By the way, I love the other commercials, too, that came out last night that we happened to watch. When I was laying on the couch there, thankfully my stomach is kind of cooperating a little bit more with me today. But yesterday when Debbie and I were watching the game, there was a commercial that came on. The NFL actually put out some really good commercials this year, but they had this little girl that comes out to her family, and they're all Giants fans sitting on the couch, and she walks out with the, obviously, Kelly Green, Eagles, Saquon Barkley jersey, and the family looks at her and says, "What are you doing? What are you wearing?" She says, "Wherever Saquon goes, I go. I follow him. I'm now an Eagles fan." And it was great to see it in the commercial, obviously because we're Eagles fans. But you can also hear in Saquon, even though he may not be as fired up as we are here on a Football Friday on Sports Radio 102.9 FM The Game, and thanks to those who are watching it, not only on the website, SR1029thegame.com, Facebook. Again, you go fuck yourselves for telling me that I can't freaking put something up there. But it's one of those things that, we share things because we love what we do, but it's a Football Friday here on Sports Radio Talk. And again, I'm pretty sure whoever sees me out in the field tomorrow for the friendly match out there in Orlando are probably going to be like, "That's the same guy that was talking." Yeah, I'm the same guy, same dude. Nothing changes me. I am who I am, period. And for those who don't like it, listen, I don't know what else to tell you. I love my wife. She knows my Philly attitude. She knows the things that I do. But at the same time, too, when it comes down to it, I will always voice my opinion. But going back to the kid in the commercial, it was great because Saquon knows. He knows that at this point, everything that he's ever worked hard for, and if it didn't happen with the Giants, he wants to do it with the Eagles. And he just mentioned, you guys all heard, that he's never beaten Dallas as a Giant. So that's even a bigger take that he wants to see this year. But I just want to see the Eagles finally, even if they can get somehow or another the three-headed monster thing going again, I just hope tonight we see more than just a touch from Saquon. I think at minimum, we should see 5 to 6 touches. And Fuji, am I wrong?
I would say more, but I mean, hey, they drafted Will Shipley in the 3rd round, and he's like a Swiss Army knife.
Right.
I mean, he could run the ball, block, catch the ball out of the backfield and the screen game. Just, I think Kellen Moore is going to use Will Shipley and mix in Kenny Gainwell. You're going to have to. I mean, you don't want to pound Barkley so much. I mean, he's your featured back, but I mean, if you're just going to run the ball down the throat, mix it up. Like I said, Will Shipley, 3rd round pick out of Clemson, and I think that was a nice sleeper pick. That props to Howie. The guy was, like, as I said, he was a Swiss Army knife at Clemson. So, which, they, as you mentioned, Angel, Boston Scott no longer being with the Eagles, but I think the Eagles got a nice mix here at the running game if it's utilized right. But, we know in the last couple of years, this team just didn't run the ball. I mean, let's go back to 2021. Angel, the Eagles were, 3-5, 2-5, and Sirianni gave up the play call and turned it over to Shane Steichen, and they started running the ball, and they ended up in the wild card. Of course, it was a 1st round exit when they got smoked by Tampa Bay, but the running game utilized. That's how they turned the whole season around.
Right. Mm-hmm. That's exactly it. By the way, someone had called, and I'm not too sure if they're on the line or not. They called from Tampa. It might have been Rick Marcus. Call back. We'll turn into the party line today. Gaslam guy, Mike Fuji on the line with us here. Duncan Dad from Philly as well, just like Fuji, who's out in Center City. So the Tampa call that just attempted to call here in the studio, by any means, I wasn't ignoring your call, but if you happen to be on the line with us here, because we'll turn into the party line, you're more than welcome to call back here. But
yeah, I need another Bucks fan on here. I feel overwhelmed.
Might be maybe coming down to that Bucks game in 3 weeks. So get ready, Tampa. Philly's coming fast and thick.
Oh, we're ready. We're ready. We're fired up.
You know it.
I'm
We're
still
taking over that town like every other city in San Paulo after the night's victory.
You know, the sad thing is though, is that the Tampa fans, there are some that show up to games, but every single game that's played in Tampa, it seems like the visiting team always overtakes the stadium.
I was actually there last year for the Monday night game. No, Philly fans travel well. I don't want to sound biased, but we love our teams. Eagles, it's eat, sleep, and drink this.
Yeah.
And worship this team. It's like when the Eagles are on, the whole city goes just, what do you call it? Shuts down. It's like paralyzed. You wouldn't even probably see a soul on the street. That's how much this city is fired up. Eagles Nation around the world, the Delaware Valley, we're all pumped and ready. Let's get rid of that garbage taste from last year, and let's, sky's the limit in the Super Bowl. I'm ready. I'm already fired up. I don't even need caffeine, alcohol, whatever. I'm just fired up on adrenaline. I'm ready to turn into Hulk Hogan, going into the heavyweight championship match right now.
Exactly.
You got the natural high going on. I like it.
That's what you get from Fuji. By the way, before I find myself here for not taking another break here, it's 11:30, bottom of the hour here on Martinez & Company Friday live show here. We thank you all for tuning in on SR1029thegame.com, where you will actually have a legitimate website that you can go and visit and patronize. And not only that, but visit our sponsors there as well, MoneyhandLumber.com, along with JimmyTheBeefGuy.com. Jimmy, who puts out some great sandwiches, 2 locations down here in Sarasota and Fort Myers. So visit them as well. Don't forget Tampa Joe's at TampaJoes.com. As you guys will get the best food. Fuji knows all about it when he was there. The best, most fresh beer in the area. Not knocking any other of the places as well. But you end up getting a good time out there as well. And even though I don't mention him a whole bunch, but Vince Rizzuto from Philly Sports Trips, you want to talk about putting on the best tailgate party. You might pay for it, but I would tell you will get more than you're worth and then some. The Tampa calls, let me see if I can somehow merge all this in. So hang on, fellas. I will come right back to you. Hello, you're on the line. You've reached Sports Radio 102.9 FM The Game. Who's this?
This is Rick. How you doing, guys?
Good, Rick. How are you?
EAGLES.
No, got a good screen from Rick. As far as the Eagles chant, Rick, if you want to do it again, listen, this is turned into the party line. Rick, meet Gas Pump Guy. Gas Pump Guy, meet Fuji. Fuji, meet Rick.
Hey.
What's up, fellas?
Rick.
What's up, Fujimeister?
Slick Rick, the nature boy.
There you go. By the way,
you ready for some football there, Mikey?
Damn straight, absolutely. Let's get it on now. Let's kick it off right this second.
There we go.
For those who know,
I'm ready, Rick.
For those who don't know,
I'm jacked and juiced and ready to run out on that field, run through that wall like Brian Dawkins.
That I definitely know. But for those who don't know, Rick Marcus, great friend of the show here, always ends up supporting when I'm out there live at Tampa Joe's. Also does a fantastic job for Southwest. That's how I get to know all the information about Southwest. It's because Rick Marcus, and I still, by the way, do have the hat, Rick, here as well, the one that you handed to me about. Although I would if they have a newer version, or maybe if I'm not asking for too much here, kind of like where you kind of let the air, there's not much hair left up here, but enough for it to flow through. One of those summer type caps. If you get a hand on one, I'd appreciate it.
Got you covered, buddy.
All right. So Duncan Dad, I'm sorry, as we've also had Duncan Dad here as well, live from Philadelphia, who went to Paris, by the way, for those who don't know, had such a great time out there. The Prime Minister of France actually said, please come join us out here. Enjoy what we have. But he had such a great time and showed me a ton of great pictures. I couldn't believe. I told him I was jealous. I wish I was out there because that had to be such a phenomenal time out there. And the Paralympics is still going on too. Don't forget to support the men and women also for the Paralympics that are out there still competing in Paris. And I think that wraps up sometime this week as well. But as we're here, Football Friday, Gaspam Guy joined us. He just gave us a Bucks report earlier. He's waiting to see exactly what the Bucks end up doing. I want to get, since I have everybody here, and as we go around a little bit on the around the horn, and Duncan, Dad, I'll go to you first. Caleb Williams, we have Matt Eberflus now coming into his third season, and I'm pretty sure a lot of Bears fans would like to see him exit out the door like they did with the White Sox. White Sox, listen, you guys got a lot to straighten up over there in Chicago, but Matt Eberflus right now, to me, like Nick Sirianni, and I'm even going to throw like Todd Bowles in this conversation as well, has a lot to prove because you can go 3-0 all day long in training camp, but now the product that you're putting out there to field with Caleb Williams, does Matt Eberflus, Duncan, and I'll get everybody else's opinion as well, does he resurrect his career if Caleb Williams has a good start?
This is a scene straight out of Top Gun where Maverick gets called into the office and he's right. You're writing checks that your body can't cash, right?
Right.
Like it's so like there's so much hung up on Caleb Williams. Now, phenomenal guy. We talked about his contract last week and how we turned to LLC. Great with managing money. From all of my little whatever inroad people, they're saying like he's pretty legit. They put a couple weapons around him, but then again, right? We go back to this coach-quarterback relationship. What will the offense actually like when it's up to real speed and you're facing first-team defenses? You know, let's pump our brakes. But head coach Eberflus on the hot seat. He's been on the hot seat for 2 years running.
Yeah,
I mean they've given him the longest bit of cord to do what he wants with his career, but sneaky kind of probably second place finish in that division. You know what I mean? Like there's just I don't trust Minnesota's quarterback. They could have Justin Jefferson all day. You know, you lose your starting quarterback. Green Bay, good, yes. Bears, Lions. I mean, like okay, like the Lions, same thing. You know, you're either gonna have a big hangover after the NFC Championship game, or you're gonna come out, hit the ground running. See, now I got faith in Campbell. I've got faith in their quarterback. I have faith in the weapons that they have on the outside, right? Williams, Brown, Gibbs, like they're pretty much set. But you know, don't sleep on the Bears. You know, they could find a little lightning, but I don't know. Again, like was under promise over deliver, right?
Right.
I think that's sort of like as a Bears, that should be your motto for the year.
All right, Rick, I know you have to run soon if you're still here. What's your quick thoughts on Chicago? He may have left. Let's see. Yep, Rick may have signed off. I know he had to get back to work out there to Southwest. So, Fuji, your thoughts, Chicago.
Oh, as far as Eberflus, it's pretty much sink or swim with him. You know, I think one of besides Nick Sirianni and Robert Spade up and with the Jets, there's a couple guys on the hot seat. Yeah, if Caleb Williams is the real deal, no doubt. But it's like, that team hyped up Mitch Trubisky. Justin Fields was traded, and now you got Caleb Williams, and it's just, the Bears organization. I don't know what it is between quarterbacks and coaches. It's just for the last X amount of years, it's just a revolving door.
Yeah, you see, not to cut you off, Fuge, but like he's not walking into a situation like C.J. Stroud did in Houston, right? Like where they've got some receivers, the coach has got everybody on board, they have a system. Same thing happened to Young in Carolina. Like the guy could have been immensely talented, but you went basically into a cesspool. Nobody was helping you. The owner really didn't care. Like you said, the relationships are all over the place. Mm-hmm. So it just goes back to what Angel was saying early on. Like those perceptions, those relationships, those inner workings between everybody in the organization, like that matters. That matters. You hit it with Andy Reid. Andy Reid, like he'll talk to anybody, coach anybody who's willing to be coached. And just sometimes you have that, sometimes you don't.
Yep. Gaspam Guy.
I think he may be. I mean, he's obviously on the hot seat. Caleb Williams. I liked Caleb Williams. I've seen a couple of his games. He's a pretty good quarterback. He's a really good quarterback, actually. But it just all goes back to coaching. If you don't have somebody that's willing to help him learn and grow in his craft, then I just think they're doomed from the beginning. And I think he'll be gone at the end of the year.
Yeah, I think so too. I just, to me, I'm not convinced the same way, but I'm less convinced. Let's put it this way. Less convinced that Matt Eberflus could turn this team around versus what Nick Sirianni and his new lineup of coordinators that he has. But Matt Eberflus, and I know a lot of folks, because again, my wife, Bears fan, diehard White Sox fan as well, she's going through the gamut when it comes to them. I think they had 2 people show up last night to one of their games, but they'll get none here soon. I'm pretty sure the broadcaster is just a broadcast from home because it's the same thing with the White Sox. We've been through it with the Phillies, so don't think, Chicago fans, that I'm making fun of you guys all together, because trust me, matter of fact, let's talk about the Sixers, talk about going through it. When Power 99, when they used to be around, were handing you tickets on the street, and the fans were giving it back to the DJ. It's like, nah, what? You want me to show up where? They took the fans and moved them to the lower part of the bowl at the Wells Fargo Center, so people wouldn't be like, wait, who's showing up? And then they would dim the lights down, like, no, we got a sold out house. No, we don't. There was nobody there. If you were lucky, through the worst of the worst, and Doug and Dad, you can back me up on this one. Am I lying when I used to say we probably had at best about 12 people in the stands?
It was empty. It was deafening. Just nothingness.
Right.
It was process, whatever you want to do. But I remember walking down the street. I remember I was walking down Market by the gallery, and people were standing outside and like, yo, come over Sixers tonight, check them out, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, nah, it's okay, don't worry about it. And people they were taking them, walking down the street, tossing them, leaving them inside the stores for, people to pick up or whatever. But, as a resident of Chicago for many years, for grade school and then college or whatever, I empathize with the White Sox, man. The Chicago White Sox are sort of like my alternative Phillies team. It's the blue collar team in Chicago, right? It's the grind. They're kind of like the little brother over here because the Cubs. Everybody loves the Cubs because it's a party. But man, I got kind of a little empathetic, so I can empathize with the wife. I saw that picture the other day, and they had like 12, 13 people. I was like, you got to be kidding me! Like these are Chicago people. Like, you guys got to show up for your games.
Yeah.
But the record is atrocious.
It is.
Like, I don't think I've seen that bad of a team in a long, long time. Like, they're just showing up.
Yep.
That's it. And they're like, yeah, I guess we're playing ball today. Okay.
So
we could go and probably sneak in, man.
I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah. Go ahead, Fuchs.
I didn't mean to cut something down off.
Oh, no, you're fine. Joey B, by the way, chimes in and says, Duncan Dad guessed some guy in Fuji in one segment. My mind is blown. And then he follows up with Joey B. He says, Fuji loved when nobody showed up to the 76ers game. No beer lines and no bathroom lines. And there wasn't. There wasn't.
Exactly.
No.
And if anybody, and by the way, Joey B, which originally from the East Coast, out there resides in Colorado right now, but he knows, he's been in the area. He saw what New York has done. He saw what Philly's done. Jersey, not so much. You guys had the Devils, and I think you still have them. You did have, though, your former basketball team that turned out to be the Brooklyn Nets. And by the way, Brooklyn, you haven't done much of nothing either. But it's going to take a little while to rebuild. Oh, that's right. You still have, what's that guy, Ben something? Yeah, you still have him. I'm sorry. Ben Nobody. So
Bon Simmons.
He's still playing?
He's still playing. He's milking a check. Yeah, that's it. He's milking a check worse than any other player in any kind of athletic history. It's ridiculous. And listen, and again, Duncan, I think you brought it up earlier, talking about mental health. It's different when someone actually has, and I think that's one guy had mentioned it as well. When you talk about mental health is one thing. When Ben Simmons was ousted because he used it as a crutch, bro, that's pretty bad. I'm just telling you right now, it's pretty bad. Because then people who actually have a problem will go on deaf ears because you decide that's what you want to use as a crutch. You're just saying, I couldn't shoot a three and I couldn't see the basket that well because my game wasn't that great. Now I can talk all the smack of why I want to because I'm out here behind a mic. I'm not on a basketball court, and I wish I was privileged enough to have the athletic skills to make it into the major leagues. Because believe me, I would have been my own worst critic too, because I'm the first one to tell you, I'm not the end all to be all, but But at the same time, too, when if a team, Charles Barkley, if anybody knew this, when Charles was traded and he went out to Phoenix, it took him years later, but he said, you know what? I miss that city because those fans brought the passion and they want to see the best out of you as an athlete. Yeah, you may have gotten booed, but man, do they love you when you're doing things right. So that is the Philly mentality. And there is a chant that goes along with it as well. I already kind of dropped an F-bomb earlier. I probably don't want to go into, maybe I'll go into the chant come Monday if things don't work out as well for the Eagles. Who knows? But you guys have seen shirts everywhere that says no one likes us, and the chant can go from there on. But again, I digress, as I may have, Facebook children watching. Freaking ridiculous platform, but whatever.
They're always watching.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, exactly right. Always watching.
Always watching.
Yeah.
It's like that scene out of Monsters Inc. for you kids.
Says, OMG, the New Jersey Nets. I remember going to the games as a kid and running around the arena while game was going on. Kelly Tripka and Mike, was it Jemsky days? Yeah.
Mike Jemsky,
you're
man.
talking about some
Mike
throwback.
Jemensky and Kelly Tripka.
Yep.
Well,
Holy Jesus. That's throwing it back a little bit here. But no, listen, it's all about fun, folks. If you guys have never tuned in to Martinez and Company, yet alone the Coastal Sports Network and Sports Radio 102.9 FM The Game, thank you. Welcome in with everyone. I can't even believe I said that. I'm so used to hearing everybody saying that. Welcome in. When did that become a thing? You used to be like, welcome, right? Now here I am spitting out the same knowledge to welcome in. But anyways, yeah, welcome in, I guess, if it's saying it correctly. And we're very well opinionated. We like to have fun. We like to enjoy ourselves. Yes, I can put myself as an armchair quarterback because, again, it's what everybody else does anywhere. So we just like to have fun with everything. Duncan Dad with me here today. Mike Fuji out there from Philly on the line with us as well, along with Gas Pump Guy out in my neck of the woods down a little south from me, down there in Fort Myers, Florida. So we thank everyone for joining us here at 11:45. Quarter past, I don't know, the cow's ass at this point, and we got a little bit more to go before 12 o'clock. So we appreciate
you
it.
didn't actually finish that.
Yeah, well, no, that's okay.
I know you can't, but
yeah, exactly.
I had to chime in on that. I'm sorry. I couldn't help myself.
It's all right. Listen, it's for those who know me, when I get fired up about something, I will get completely fired up about it. Trust me when I tell you, I will get completely fired up about it because it just drives me nuts. To shut someone's mouth should not even be a question. Joey B says, open question to the panel. Thoughts on the Sao Paulo game and how unsafe it is there for the team? They were told not to leave their hotel. It's unreal. I will start out first with Duncan Dad, then we'll go with Fuji, Gas Pump Guy, and I'll give you my thoughts.
Where there's smoke, there's fire, right? There's your story, my story, there's the truth. You have to take some of this with a little reservation, right? If you're any bit of aware of what's going on in the world, you know that a lot of these places internationally are not what they appear to be. That being said, yes, it's for the money, the NFL. They're trying to grow the game. I get that. Sometimes you got to have the teams to be the first to go and do something. But you want it to be controlled. You want it to be a safe environment. Hopefully, most likely, everything will go off without a hitch, blah, 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 blah. But I think this leads to a bigger problem. You mentioned it with, what you get told to say and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
We aren't allowed to bring up the questions, the hypotheticals. Like, come on, man. Like, if you're going to walk down Philly at night, I'm going to tell you, look, don't go beyond here. Don't go beyond there. That's what you do. It's just common sense. You want to be aware of your surroundings and what's happening. Now, if they say, oh, the stadium was used for the World Cup, they were saying that, everything inside is going to be, all taken care of and cleaned up. And, it's just like a scene out of, what's it called? My gosh, The Longest Yard. Right. Where they're busting the guys in behind the prison. They got the fence going up. We're coming. I was like, yo, guys, maybe we need to think about this a little bit. But, NFL is going to do it. The players are going to fall in line.
Yeah, Pooch?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I think no matter, really, you look at any foreign country you go to, it's like, you don't, no matter where you go anymore, it's bad, but it's just, I don't want to bring this up, politically, but, you look at the two Marines that were attacked just a couple of days ago, I think close to last weekend, and I don't know if it was Turkey.
It was Turkey.
Yeah. And they were in port, they were checking out the town, and they got beat up. Luckily, they were okay, but it's like, I know no matter where you go anymore, but it's like, it just seems like not just any other foreign country, people visiting, but Americans seem to be getting attacked. And it's like, you don't, God forbid, like you end up in like one of these countries, like in a foreign country in jail. It's like, it's not like here, God forbid. I don't know. It's just, you go to a resort in a foreign country, they always say, be safe if you go out there because, they know we're Americans or, what kind of money you have or whatever. But it's just, you got to be so careful. Like you said, Duncan, Dad, you got to be aware of your surroundings today.
Yeah, Gaston guy.
I don't even know. Like you guys were saying, in all these other countries, there's always somewhere that's trouble area, or even in the United States, there's areas that you don't go. Like Duncan Dad was saying, in Philly, there's spots where you don't want to go past this time, or even down here in Florida and Miami and even up in Tampa. I know there's spots up there where you don't want to go when it's late at night, and like they say, you just use your common sense and do what you got to do and get the job done. And I don't know, when these players are over in other countries and stuff, is there really time for them to go out anywhere else? They do the walkthroughs, the practices. Do they really have that much time to go out and look at the city or anything like that?
No, as of recent, not anymore, because you got to figure that after the NFL, after COVID, they took away that extra day they used to have to go out there. So if you had a Sunday game, you would show up on Friday. Now you show up basically the day before. So I don't see, I understand like a lot of these players have never been to Brazil. I know a lot of them complained because it was a 9.5-hour flight. But if anybody, it's the same way. Like when they go to London, from what it's told, the same thing what they did with the Phillies when the Phillies went overseas is that they give the guys the sleepy stuff so they can at least get some rest. So when they arrive there, because they know it's going to be busy, hotel check-ins, this, that, and the other, just other stuff that's going on. And unfortunately in Brazil, there's a lot of unrest when it comes to the same thing with the politics over there. So what's happening is they want to make sure that everybody is safe. Now, and anywhere, Christ, go to Camden. I hear it's wonderful any time of the year to go out to Camden, and it's not every Camden resident. It's not like that out in Jersey, the armpit of America. It's never like that everywhere. But it's just, it happens. It happens anywhere you are. There's places in South Philly, places in North Philly. There's places that, matter of fact, where Fuji resides out in Northeast Philly, there was places like when you went out to Northeast Philly because you wanted to just be at peace, not have to worry about it, leave your gate open, leave a window open, you were fine. Now you leave the window open, the guy comes in your house like, bro, I'm sorry, man. I borrowed your TV last night. I'm going to bring it back to you. I didn't mean to take it, but I left you an IOU. So to me, if you're out somewhere, it doesn't freaking matter. Just be aware of your surroundings. That's anywhere in the world anymore. So I understand like some of the players are frustrated because they didn't want to go out there. But at the same time, too, anytime you go to a different country, especially now as an American, you got a huge target on your back. You just do. And also, I'm not talking about the corporation. You go out somewhere, it's like, American? Yes. Oh, did I say American? No, I am somethingese. Something other than what you're not. Because it's a shame, and that's because of what's being built around today. So I can understand, and I wish that some of the players could go out, and I would probably say they just want to go out mostly to the, Christ the Redeemer, and then probably on the beach, like a lot of the Philly fans have been doing. So when you're there, you can say, oh yeah, I did go to the most, the famous World Beach where women can wear wherever they want to. The same thing with the men. That's why they want to go out there to explore, to see it and say, I actually touched the ocean. It was great. So I do feel bad in a sense that they can't go out somewhere. I understand the NFL's protocol to make sure that they're safe. And God forbid you don't have an incident like they did out there in San Francisco, which San Fran, you guys got a lot of cleaning up to do. I'm not saying Philly's any better, but man, we don't freaking clean up the city when somebody comes into town either. We just keep it the way it is. So there's a lot of stuff that goes on to a lot of places. And, I just hope they have a good game. And I think the field, if it wasn't really ready, I'm almost 100% certain that the NFL would have said they don't want them playing out there on the field. Yes, the World Cup was played there. Everybody understands it. Everybody gets it. But how much can you possibly change to where a team right now it's a trial run for Brazil? It's not saying that somebody won't be back there like the same way they're not back in Mexico. And who knows if they go out to Australia, as has been mentioned many times before. But you deal with what you have. And if the NFL felt, I'm pretty sure, and I'm not defending the NFL by any means because everybody knows how I feel about Goodell as well. But my thing is that if the NFL felt like this was not going to be that safe, they probably would have pulled the plug and told the teams before they flew there, hey, you know what, guys, we're not going to do this. But they felt that the conditions are good. They felt that it's safe. And if anybody's ever been to a country other than ours, when you see and you jump on the back of a Toyota and you see like basically, I don't know, the 50 cal on the back of it, and I'm pretty sure you're pretty much safe unless they take the gun out. The only guy that's on the weapon back there. But it is what it is, unfortunately. I think that NFL tried something new, something different. The Eagles and Green Bay happen to be the guinea pigs for it. And we'll find out. We'll see if there's any kind of reports. I mean, I haven't heard anything back from the folks from Philly Sports Trips. So obviously, they're probably having a good time. But anywhere you go anymore, call me crazy, you get harassed. It's unfortunate. But as life evolves, this is what ends up happening. So I just hope for a good outcome for this game. I think the Eagles are going to do just fine. At least I hope for Green Bay as well. Your quick thoughts on last night's game, Fuji. I don't know if you happen to watch or not with the outcome there between KC and obviously for Baltimore, but they were right at the end of the game the way they called it. Toe touch, it's what ended the game. But I did hear earlier on when Peter talked about it, where ESPN Get Up ESPN, they had mentioned how Lamar didn't have to have that perfect throw. If you would have thrown it, I'm pretty sure something else could have been made of it. But the game gets called at the end. No time left, obviously. Toe tap. And other than that, I thought it was a really good game last night, Fuji.
You know what? I was working and I actually saw the very last drive by Baltimore, and it was like, I thought his foot was like really just a little smidge outside the line. I mean, it sucks that Baltimore couldn't, time ran out and they couldn't, tie that game to send it to overtime. But I mean, from what I hear, like both offensive lines like really played sloppy. And I mean, I got to watch the replay, but it's a shame because, of course, you got to give it to Kansas City. Looks like Mahomes has more weapons with Nate, Xavier Nady, and then they brought back Juju Smith-Schuster and Rashee Rice, and it's just, I think both teams will forced to be reckoned with as far as being in probably the two best teams right now in the AFC. But it's kind of a shame. Like I said, they couldn't really get to that play to like review it because, I think Baltimore could have pulled it out.
Nope. I would agree there. And I want to bring this up before I get Gaslam's guy comment on that one as well. Cause this is what Ryan Clark had to say. Let me make sure that this works the way I need it to work. So far, that's looking pretty good. But I want you guys to hear to comment what he had mentioned this morning on ESPN Get Up. And he talked about if Lamar Jackson cost him down the stretch. And then I want to get your thoughts. And guess what, guy, get your thoughts as soon as after the video's played. So here's Get Up from ESPN, courtesy of ESPN, and Ryan Clark.
He squeezed the baby, right? Baby. You can't squeeze the baby. It can't get.
Explain what that means.
Sometimes, right, you love the baby so much and you want to take care of it so much and you want to do the right thing that you smother it with love. And so now you overthink things when it comes to making decisions about that child and who they are. That's what he did. He has somebody that's wide open, and he says the thing I don't want to do is I don't want to throw this ball bad. Yep. I want to throw it perfectly, actually. And what Dan is telling us, you don't have to throw it perfectly. He's butt, booty, naked, wide open, right? And also Brian Cook, who is chasing him, isn't looking at the football. Correct. So if anything, you want to throw it short and have Brian Cook run up the back of Isaiah Likely so he can body him out. Lamar Jackson, and I love what Dan said too, This is the juxtaposition of who Lamar Jackson is. When I watched that Baltimore Ravens team last night, that team is not good on offense. That team didn't have playmakers on offense outside of Isaiah Likely. That's why Lamar Jackson had to go skip to Malou and hot sauce, right? So the only reason they're in the game, the only reason they have those 3 plays is because of him. But now you have to make them. How many times have we said the other team is better than the Kansas City Chiefs, but Patrick Mahomes is going to win the game? And how many times has he done it?
Yeah.
I love Lamar Jackson. I want Lamar Jackson to win all the Super Bowls.
Yeah.
You can't beat that dude and that team if you don't make that throw.
GBG.
I agree. I mean, like we were talking about earlier, you know, you got to get. They had a good run game in the beginning, and then it fell off. I mean, I'm of the type that if you get a good running game, your passing game will come. And Lamar Jackson is a great passer. He's pretty accurate, and I think that he just second guessed himself at the end, and with not hitting the guy wide open. You know, he needs to just launch it in there and know that guy's going to catch the ball.
Booch?
Well, I don't want to make comparisons here, but when you look at that, you know, just listen to feedback and stuff. Like, I was watching a show last night where they said, you know, the play calling from Baltimore was pretty atrocious. And I don't want to compare Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry / Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, but I mean, it's almost like 2 similarities. Like, you know, you got dual threat quarterbacks and you bring in, you know, 2 free agent running backs. And it's like, I just hope, you know, this isn't how it's going to be for the Eagles, because, you know, it's like, to me, like Baltimore, like I said, I don't even know if it's fair for me to say, but if you're getting away from the running game,
right?
And, you know, I just hope the Eagles don't. I mean, if this is like a preview to come from Baltimore, I mean, what the hell did you go out and sign Derrick Henry for? I mean, you know, Lamar's going to take off, but, you know, as we said, you know, to circle back, just, you know, the Eagles haven't ran the ball over the years, and I just hope it's not going to be a situation like that. I mean, like I know it's 2 different teams and stuff like that, but when you really look at the similarities, you really got to think, you know, it's one game, or is Baltimore going to not run the ball, or, you know, the Eagles going to do the same? I don't know if it makes sense, but, you know, just to compare.
No, it does. Duncan?
I don't know if anybody agrees with that analogy, but.
Yeah, definitely. First and foremost, if you're not following my guy Dan Orlovsky on all the platforms, go and follow that guy. I know he gets a lot of crap sometimes for, you know, stepping out of the end zone, didn't know he's out of the end zone. I know he just ranked, you know, quarterback said elite, whatever. He sees the football game very, very clear. It's in the way that he breaks it down. Great guy, great husband, great father, just right to the point with what he says. And obviously, his co-host is jumping in saying, listen what Dan's saying. This is a simple throw that this guy is supposed to make. Case in point, and not to regurgitate it, but the reason why the Kansas City Chiefs beat you is because you have a guy who will make a play versus a guy who won't make a play. In a very simple rote situation where maybe stuff is coming in on them, clear their head and they go. You know, Kansas City, I watched the whole game last night. They're really cutting down on the guys lining up along the belt of the center. They hit Baltimore for like 3 or 4 of those illegal formations or false starts. I know that the right tackle in Kansas City was stepping back as Mahomes was calling for another centers, 2 or 3 instances where, you know, they kind of got away. Well, listen, they're the world champs. They're playing at home. You don't expect that to be, you know, all cut and dry. So wipe your tears, whatever. That's just going to happen. Michael Jordan got calls, LeBron got calls, Kobe got calls. Stuff happens. But Kansas City themselves, they will be exponentially better this year than they were last year. And, oh my goodness gracious, talking about coordinators, talking about coaches, not to go completely off of the question, but like Steve Spagnuolo is phenomenal. He is at his schemes where he puts guys in position, and when the time comes to make the play, these guys make the play. They don't overthink it. They run through all the scenarios, But when you have a team like Baltimore, like Fuge said, you bring in Derrick Henry. You run down the field the first drive, you pound it into the end zone. Sometimes you've got to shift a little of your you need to shift a little bit of your dynamic offense back to, let's pace ourselves here. The big plays are going to come. We're going to ask guys, to make throws, but truth be told, they were dominated on the offensive line. Chris Jones was having lunch with Lamar Jackson the whole game. Outside of the first drive, you were looking for Lamar Jackson to make plays against that Kansas City defense. That's the growth. That's the maturity. That's where everything comes into play with quarterback, coordinator, coaches, scheme, offense. Like, all of these little things do contribute to your result, and then you are forced to improvise. Well, if I know I'm improvising, and you're the only guy that's improvising, I'm not got to really worry about anybody else. You're going to get lucky, hit what's his face, on a 49-yard touchdown pass that he sidesteps somebody and puts the brakes on, runs by him. It's going to happen. Like that's just going to happen. But that's not the norm. These guys, you have to live in this norm. The norm is what's going to make you Super Bowl champs.
Yep. No, all good points. All right, 5 after 12 o'clock here. We got a little couple bonus minutes, but when you own the network, you can do whatever you want to. Thank you very much. So thank you all once again tuning in. Coastal Sports Network, Sports Radio 102.9 FM, The Game. For those who are listening, we do appreciate it from all around the world, including Norway, who decided to join the program as of yesterday, which is always great. So thanks to them. And Spain, Italy, France, Canada, our friends to the north, you guys are coming out by volumes, and we do appreciate it as hockey season is right around the corner. So Canada, you will be heavily involved in the show as well, so look for that coming up. And then, of course, we've got basketball stuff coming up, along with the new folks from USF. We do appreciate all the new listeners from University of South Florida. Also, our friends in the Arena Football League, which there's some changes that are coming up I won't get into right now, but you guys have seen some posts where some of them, as they mention now, as AF1. That will be coming up hopefully within the next week. I'll give you guys more of a lowdown of what's going on there, but we thank you all for tuning in. Don't forget to download the all-new digital sports app on SR1029thegame.com directly from the website. You download the app, therefore you won't miss a show. As I always mention, if you're taking a shower, you're in the gym, you're going out on your date, you can watch the live programming and see Duncan Dad's handsome face, and then jump in the car, turn on the radio, hook it up to your Bluetooth. You can listen to the radio side, and then when you jump out on the other side because you're going to go see Fuji over there at the mailroom downtown, then you can go back and watch the video and say, hey, I know this guy. So plenty of ways to keep up with things. And then when you're down in Fort Myers, you can say hello to Gaspom Guy as well. So thanks for the gentleman being on here. But before I end up ending up the show here, I want to get some picks in, and we'll see. We'll make comparisons come on Monday to see how we all end up doing. But we'll do, let's see, 5, 6 random picks here. We'll start off with, and I'll start with Duncan Dad, and I'll finish up with me making the last pick. But Duncan Dad, Green Bay, Philly, who you got?
Oh, man. I want to pull for the Eagles, but if I'm betting right now.
Yep.
I'm betting. I'm betting. All right. I'll take the Packers.
All right. Fuge?
Birds 28-23.
Gaspom Guy?
I'm going with the Packers.
All right. Boy, oh boy. We talk about a tough one here because I'm right there with Duncan Dad. I absolutely love my Birds, and I hope that they don't prove me wrong. I'm not a betting man. I absolutely suck at betting. Everybody knows this. I've never betted on anything. Not true. Better on my wife. Absolutely love her to death because that is the best bet I could have ever won, and I got the ring to prove it. So it's absolutely phenomenal. But you know what? I'm a diehard. Love my Birds. Birds, hopefully we'll take this one. If not, come Monday, folks. I'm just telling you, it's going to be a whole interesting show here come Monday. All right, next game. Chicago, Tennessee. I'll start out with Gaspom Guy. Which one you got?
I'm going Tennessee all the way.
All right. Fuge?
Tennessee.
Duncan Dad?
I'm going to take the Bears.
And I'm going to go with you as well because I think the Bears can actually pull this one off of Tennessee. So I will I will mimic exactly what you said. All right, next game, Chargers, the Raiders. Fuji, I'll start out with you.
I'm going to go with the Las Vegas Raiders, not by much.
All right, Duncan Dad.
Man, new coach. Is a Bear the guy he's supposed to be? No Keenan Allen. I'm torn on this game. This is one of the games that I was sort of staying away from,
right?
Because I'm a big Gardner Minshew fan. Give me the Raiders.
All right. GBG.
I'm gonna go with the Chargers because I think Harbaugh is gonna actually help Herbert step to the next level.
All right. I am actually going to go with the guys here, and I'm going to say the Raiders are going to pull some sort of crazy upset towards the very end of the game. So I'll take the Raiders on that one. By the way, folks, this will be posted up on social media so you guys can follow along. And don't forget also, you guys can join the league that I've created. All you have to do, as Rick says, Rick is taking the Eagles as well. Matter of fact, I'll get Rick's take as well from the games, but so I'll put Rick down here for the Eagles. Rick, I'll ask for your picks here in a second, but if you guys want to join the league that I've created, you guys can go on sr1029thegame.com. You'll see the ESPN Pigskin Pick'em. Click on the link right there. You can go into the group that I created, Sports Radio Group, and then you guys can make your picks in there. The best, and it's just, your picks. We're not betting or anything else like that. But at the end of the season, we'll come up with something funny or something else to see who actually won at the end of the year. Either A, I'm thinking, God forbid, that if you have to wear the opposing team jersey, and if a Dallas fan joins, oh my God, I think I would have to really not even show my face anymore. But I'm a man of my word, so if you're a Dallas fan, you want to join the league, you guys end up winning at the very end, I'll send me the jersey, I'll wear it, unfortunately, because it's, one of those things up there. Oh, we'll come up Sunday. Or Dunkin' Dad will give you all the Dunkin' Donuts coffee that you guys may want, which is one bag, and you have to pay the taxes for it. All right, Duncan Dad, Washington, Tampa Bay. What do you have?
Hey, gas pump guy, you nailed it. It's their division to lose. I love the Bucks this year. That was probably my easiest division winner pick going. I think Tampa's 10 games. Easy 10 games win this year.
Pooch?
I agree.
Wait, this is what game?
Washington, Tampa Bay.
I'm going Washington.
Really?
I think Jaden Daniels, I think he's going to light it up this year.
Okay, we shall see. GBG, I already know. I already wrote you down for Washington.
Oh, come on. No, I just want to say I think the Bucks are going to win, and I think that Combs is going to take Baker to the next step. And the rookie running back that we got, Bucky Irvin, I think he's going to help out Rashad. And we're definitely going to be working on all cylinders on both sides of the ball this year.
All right. I am going to go with Tampa Bay because I believe they can actually beat the Red. They're always going to be known as the Redskins. Sorry,
Oh yeah,
they got that cute name, the Commanders, but it's the Redskins. Everybody knows this. And then the final. Oh, by the way, Rick, if you can send in your picks for Tennessee, Chicago, Vegas, Chargers, Washington, Tampa Bay. Now our final one here: the Rams and the Lions. I will start out with Fuji Rams Lions.
I'm going to go with the Lions.
Okay.
Bad taste in their mouth. Basically had San Fran on the ropes in that NFC championship game. Go Lions.
All right. Guess one guy.
I agree with Fuji. I think the Lions got a bad taste in their mouth, and I think they're actually moving forward, and we're going to see a lot better Lions team this year.
Yep, I would have to wholeheartedly agree. I think Detroit is on a mission this year, other than Dan Campbell making some Applebee's commercials, which I think is hilarious. If you guys have not seen it, it is actually really, really good. So if you haven't, matter of fact, I might even tie it together with our picks here that I'll post up there on social media. And then, of course, the DD, Duncan Dad.
I'm going to take Detroit. I'm going to put a little asterisk next to it.
All right.
I don't want to see the Lions press. I know they're going to be anxious because of the taste. They've a lot of buildup from this year, but I'm hoping Campbell's talking to him saying, we're good, guys. Just play our game. We'll be good. Because They are. They're young. They're exciting. They're ready to go. They're ready to be like, that wasn't us. We let that slip out of our hands. We're coming back for it. And on the other side, I mean, McVay, man, he takes advantage of that stuff. You know, he's a little mastermind guy. Him and McDaniels.
Yeah.
Looking at your head. He's like, oh, he's pressing over there. You know, runs his little game.
McVay's underrated.
McVay is
Very
severely underrated. Guy's got like perfect recall. He's like, he can tell you like a play, time, down, distance. Like he's ridiculous.
Just like LeBron. LeBron is a savant when it comes to that stuff. He can tell you games. I may not be a uber fan of LeBron, and I'm pretty sure once he walks away from the game, he's a whole different story. But he's the same way. He can.
I don't know what I ate last night.
Huh?
So I don't even know what I ate last night.
Yeah, and everybody forgets. Everybody. I didn't eat much of anything because of my freaking stomach, so I didn't get a chance to eat. Matter of fact, I haven't eaten jack this morning whatsoever. I've had water, tea, coffee, and then been on a fluid diet, at least at the time. But no, I will have the picks that we had here posted up on social media, so you guys can follow us on SR1029 The Game on X, SR1029 The Game on Instagram, or as Coach Belichick likes to call it, InstaFace, which he joined yesterday. If you guys missed that one on the Pat McAfee Show, and of course over on LinkedIn, Facebook, SR1029 The Game. If those freaking idiots get their act together, it might be back up there. So who knows? Anyways, and I'm trying to think where else. That's pretty much about it. And then obviously, if on the website, you guys can go to the website. Again, you'll see the ESPN Pigskin Pick'em right on the homepage. And by the way, the app is not that far away from there, so you can do both at once. I'm pretty sure you guys are gifted enough to do so. So you can just go there, click on the link. It'll take you over into the one that I've created, the sports radio section. Join the group. It's absolutely free. There's no charge. There's no gimmick. There's nothing else. Absolutely free. And then we'll just talk about it on Monday. Have the bragging rights to see who's right and who's wrong. And then you guys can follow through our picks over the weekend. GPG will be back with me on Monday. Fuji will be back with me on Monday. Duncan Dad, I might have to pull him away from Starbucks. I know he says Duncan Dad, but I might have to pull him away from Starbucks and get him in on Monday. I don't know. I don't know.
That's contradicting, ain't it? If his name is Duncan Dad and he's going to Starbucks.
It's a Wawa thing, man. They got some, Wawa's got some good coffee come the fall time.
Oh, they do. It's actually excellent.
They already got that Pumpkin's place, yeah.
Yep.
Everybody's going batshit crazy over that.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you what, if Wawa ever came on as a sponsor, I would just love they would send me coffee. I'd be fine with that. Send me
coffee and hoagies all day, man.
Exactly.
Yeah, their hoagies are the best. I love their sandwiches.
Yeah. Listen, we would all love, the hundreds and thousands of dollar contracts, but hey, Wawa, if you're listening, I'm just saying, coffee, a couple. Matter of fact, what's my other one here? The what's our summer drink? Jesus Christ.
Your smoothie thing?
There you go. Smoothies. Yep. That's another one. So yeah, I see Duncan Dad. That's why you're here.
See, Wawa, it can be bought. This could be the Wawa Dad real quick.
There you go. They can have it that way. But thank you all for tuning in. We do appreciate a little bit of a late start this morning because I had an event on something that happened. If you guys don't know, you missed it with Pete and myself this morning. And the reason why the show was fired up the way it was, the clowns over at the FB, they decided that they want to take people down because of a website. And instead of reaching out to humans, they decided to do their muscular bot fits program and then erase it. And then, by the way, say, oops, my bad. Nope. They know exactly how I feel about them. I can't stand them. But the only reason why I have that up there, one is because I know Pete loves it. I know because we shared a show out on it and stuff like that, but that's why I'm very, very minimal when it comes to anything in relation to that because I can't stand it. Twitter will always be, X will always be my go-to. Absolutely loved them from day one. Have my account and I always remain on there and loyal to X. So thank you all once again for tuning in for Duncan Dad, for Gas Pump Guy, Mike Fuji, as we all get fired up here because there is something in particular. I can't end the show without it. So those, again, who have very timid hearts. The next thing I'm about to play here might not be for everybody. I get it. I understand it. But I do, matter of fact, hold on, before I even play that, I do have the Buccaneers fight song. Here it is. Of course, I'm kidding, Bucs fans. I'm kidding.
That later.
We'll see when they play against Philadelphia. We'll see who's playing that music.
Listen, I can already play it for you. I can.
We're gonna be 1-2 after that game.
Well, damn right we'll be listening to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That for sure. But no, I'm going to leave you guys actually with something pretty good here. Again, thank you to everyone. Hopefully the whole crew will be back here on Monday. Have yourself a great weekend. Enjoy the game tonight from Sao Paulo. Our Brazilian friends, ciao. Muchas gracias, even though it's completely different in their dialect. And don't forget, tomorrow, if you guys want to see me act pretty much silly, the largest crowd that will ever be a PA announcer across, as I've gotten the blessings from Soccer ID to go out there and Camping World Stadium and to be the PA announcer in front of some 10,000 plus. My heart is going to sink to the bottom of my behind, down to my feet, and back up through my throat because it's going to be nerve-wracking. I got a lot of homework to do as soon as it's over. But don't forget, Pete Shepard starts off today with the Pete Shepard Show from 7 to 10 a.m., which I co-host, executive produce for Pete. Myself, Martinez Company, Angel Martinez, right here on Sports Radio 102.9 from the game. From 10 to 12. And then Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and also Monday, Wednesday, and Friday is my hermano who's coming up at 3 o'clock, Rich Quinones with the Drive with Q. So we will leave you with this. This will get Fuji definitely fired up for sure. Thank you all. Have a safe, great weekend, and make sure you make great choices. And I leave you with this.
Let's go,
Birds. Bye.
All right, Fuji, you're going to be the man.
Yep.
Hit it, Fuji. Did I hear a gas pump guy trying to spell out the Buccaneers? Did I get that right?
Huh?
I thought you tried to sham the Bucks in between there to screw it up.
Oh, no. Before you started playing, I said, let's go Bucks.
Oh, there you go. I know I heard something. All right, you guys.
Go Birds.
Have a great weekend. Thank you all. And don't forget to tune in 3 to 5, The Drive with Q. Have a great weekend.
Go Birds.
Go Bucks.
That was great.
Listen, thank you to you guys. Thank you to Duncan Dad. I'll pop him back up here on the screen.